I'll feed anybody, but I'm not for everybody. My name is Chef Derrick Green, and I find people that have turned their life's experiences into ingredients they use to feed others. We're redefining soul food. These people have turned their adversities into their advantages. This is the Sauce of Life show, and let's go. So, Billy the Kid, welcome to the Sauce of Life. Brother, the Sauce of Life is about people that have taken their life's experiences and turned those into ingredients that they now use to feed others. It's truly about the things that you've gone through that have helped you get to where you are now. With that being said, Billy, please introduce yourself to the world.
Let's go, baby. Well, first of all, bro, thank you for having me, man. I've been looking forward to this. I can't wait to dive in and in hopes that we change lives out there, man. So I'm Billy the Kid, originally from El Salvador. So I am an immigrant. And, you know, I do a little bit of everything. I have a construction company. I do some real estate investing. I have a music record label that I signed myself with. I'm a hip hop artist myself. And let's see, I do some coaching. I wrote a book, just a little bit of everything. Just try, I'm trying my best, bro. And this goes out to everybody out there. I'm trying to be proud of myself when I'm in my deathbed. That's my main goal is, can I look back in my deathbed and be like, man, you know what? I went hard. I enjoyed every single day. I strive to be the best that I could for my kids, for my wife, for my mother, right? Like everybody around me, all my friends, people I coach, for Derrick, like every single person that I show up for, I have to be my best because it's a ripple effect, bro. We you know, that saying is so true. Like you can't change the world unless you change yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do, is change myself to the best that I can be and show people that everything is possible. Just hustle.
Heck yeah, let's go. So I finished your book again this morning, The Power of Uncomfortable. And let me make sure I get the full thing in there. The Power of Uncomfortable. It's a quick read, this book, but there's so much knowledge that you pack in there, so many life lessons that you pack in there, and also little hidden gems that if you learn to read between the lines, picking things out. The first one that stood out to me is right there in the introduction. You mentioned your mom, your wife, your daughters. What is the power of women, or what role has women played in your life, bro?
Everything. I think it's funny. My daughters will tell me sometimes, "Dad, you could tell you're a dad girl." I'm like, "All right, I'll take that." I don't know if it's good or bad, but I love it. I love it. But I think we have to remember that we came from a woman, um, and so that I've taken that very serious, and especially the circumstances that I put in, that I've been put in right in this life. I don't take it lightly at all. I definitely teach my daughters, because you got to think about it. Like I have daughters, I have like literally all women. My nephew was just born it's been a few years now, but he's the only like male, within my family. So. But I take it very serious because that's where we come from. And, there's so many things. Like I'll go even with my wife, like I wouldn't be where I am without her, for example. Even though she might not have been like physically recording the music, right, with me in the booth, right? Like, but she was there to support me, through my music career, through like, she already knows sometimes I go home and I'm like, oh yeah, babe, I bought another house. Oh, okay. Hey, what do you want for dinner? Right. Like, she just supports me that way now. It's not like, well, wait, what'd you do that for? My mother, the same thing. From as a kid, and there's power to this. And those of you who are parents, my mom she always told me essentially what I just said at the beginning: everything is possible, just hustle. Like she always told me that. Not in those exact words, right? But
Yeah.
she always told me, whenever I would show her a drawing, right? Like I feel like I've always been kind of like on the artistic side, right? Like tapping in. If I would draw something, paint something, she would be like, "Oh my God, that's so beautiful." And that right there encouraged me to strive to always do the best that I can, right? Like, oh, you know what? I can do it. It made me believe in myself. So yeah, they're just don't forget, like we come from a woman, most importantly. And then I grew up with no dad, that was, it's a big impact, right? Like it made a big impact, but also turn those negatives into positives. Because I could sit here and tell you, you know what, I ain't doing shit in my life. I don't know if we could cousin here, but I'm
Go
just
for it, man.
passionate about it. Very passionate. We could easily go that route, like, oh, I'm gonna fucking fuck off my life and do drugs or whatever. But instead, I use that as fuel, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I didn't meet my dad. Well, my kids will. And matter of fact, they're not just gonna meet me. I'm gonna be the best dad that I can be, right, for myself and for them, right? So I think you have to feel yourself through all the negatives. Don't be a victim.
That's beautiful. And let me just address the cursing thing right quick. For those in the audience that don't yet know or guess when I bring them on, brother, you can curse and that will turn some people off and they'll want to turn this off and go to a different channel. But you could also just talk about religion or talk about God and that'll turn some people off and they'll go to a different channel. You can talk about the color of the sky and that'll turn somebody off because the sky is gray. So I'm not here to please everybody. I have a statement, a saying, a mantra when I step on stage that I introduce myself as Chef Derrick Green. I will feed anybody, but I'm not for everybody. So
Let's go.
with that, man, this is here to capture your sauce of life. And you're one of those people that truly has taken your life's experiences and you give it back to others in so many different ways now. Did you feel a responsibility? It seems, and I'm asking this because it seems from your book that you did. So I just want to clarify. Did you feel a responsibility as a young kid, I believe at age 10, with all of the things that you saw with your mom growing up to be in that role of a man?
For sure. It's a lesson that I always teach my kids, like, don't grow too fast. And obviously sometimes it shoots me in the foot, right? Because I'm like, yeah, you should probably push that a little harder, right? Like, it's time for you to do that thing. But essentially, man, for one, I think we're just adult, like we're adults, right? But we're just acting like we know what we're doing. Nobody knows what the hell we're doing, man. We're like,
True
we're
story.
all we're all kids, right? Like, at heart. Like, and I think, and if you're not a kid at heart, if you think you are grown and old and blah blah blah, uh, do some research on that, because there are studies, that keep you young, like when you do that, right? And I'm not saying I'm gonna be that kid. You have to, there's growth too, right, that happens as a person. But I feel like I've been a man since I can ever remember, like, because whether it was not even financially, but just physically taking care of my mom, right, like with abuse that she went through. And I remember holding my sister tight, right, like at that time, when he would show up and I knew there was going to be violence, right, like something was going to happen. He wasn't going to be happy for whatever dumb reason. So, and then you fast forward, when we came to America. I mean, as soon as we came here, I had a job at I don't want to say a taco truck, because in California, they have those almost like a mini supermarket that drives around the neighborhoods, and they
Yeah.
deliver like milk, right? Like, so if you're from Cali, you know what I'm talking about, right? Not a lot of people understand that. Out here in Nebraska, bro, we don't have that. But I remember getting a job there, and the $50 I would make, it would just go straight to my mom. I would bring, they would give me a gallon of milk, right? Which at that time, bro, a gallon of milk was a gallon of milk, right? Like, and I always go back to those moments, because that's literally where I come from now. At this stage in my life, I'm my mom's retirement. She doesn't have, a retirement or, 401k, none of that. She's never been financially savvy, right? Like, so I'm her retirement. So that I feel like there's a fuel there too. Obviously you fast forward, now I have my girls, and I have a lot of people, like I said before, I have a lot of people behind me that I have to do my best, not just financially, but just for myself, right? Like, for me to become better, so that way I can show up for them. And so with that being said, since a kid, I've had that responsibility. And even to this day, anything that happens, my mom still calls me, and I have to remind myself that I'm the male figure, right, that she has, right, in her life. And so it's a big responsibility, but it makes you stronger too. And I am not the only one. There's a lot of people, a lot of kids that grew up with no father figure. And if you're one of them listening, just remember that it's actually a good thing. You could do a lot of good from that experience. You could turn it into a positive for sure.
There's two questions that popped into my head as you were speaking there. Um, Thank you for sharing that. One of them is, who taught you to become a man, or how to be a man, how to be a father? And the second one is a question that I just have in general. People like you and I that have gone through some adversities in life, we tend to take very good care of our family as we grow up. So are you raising a generation of softer kids because they haven't gone through any of the adversities that you've gone through?
Mm, both great questions. The first one, nobody has ever asked me that, Derrick. So thank you for asking me. Who taught me to be a man? And I'm just gonna say it because I say what I feel and what
Go
goes through
for
my
it, man.
head. And the first thing that came to my head was the streets. Like there, coming from El Salvador, like I was still a kid, and I lived in California for a little bit, out here in Nebraska, and it's definitely not as bad, right? But I always say, like, if there's poverty, there's gonna be drugs, there's gonna be crime, there's gonna be stupid shit, and there's poverty out here too, right? Out here in Nebraska. Now, I definitely think that if my mom wouldn't have brought me to Nebraska, I wouldn't be here, honestly. If I would have done the stuff that I did in El Salvador, in LA, right? Like, I'm pretty sure whether it was death or in prison, right? Like, and I, I don't like that side of my story a lot, but it is my side. And so I speak on it. So that was the first thing. I went through the streets, and I think that you have to be a man, right? But most importantly, after the streets, and for sure, obviously my mom, but most definitely my wife. Like, she definitely, I don't want to say molded me, but maybe that's the word that I'm looking for. Like, she helped me mold myself into a man, especially a dad. But I think also you have to find the power within, and I've always had that. I've always had the power within. So I knew, even though, like, the little bit of dumb stuff that I did, right, like in the streets, like I still had that, like, yeah, no, I shouldn't be doing that, right? Like, I know there's better out there. Or after I would do some dumb stuff, I knew I had to go back and say, you know what, like, that's not gonna benefit me in the future, right? Like, and also, as an immigrant too, Derrick, at that time, I always thought too, people are always like, oh, I don't want to go to jail, right? Like, or whatever. But to me, it was like, I ain't trying to get deported. And that's
Right.
just facts. Because if I would catch something, then that would be definitely an option, right? Like, get deported. So, I think the power within, and then for sure the ladies in my life, molded me into a man, for sure.
Do
And
you
then,
think that your kids are going to be as resilient as you are?
thank you. That was the next question. That's a very tough one. Of course, the answer is, like, yes, I want them to, right? And we strive to do that. We have put expectations. There's rules. E- Even as stupid as curfew sounds sometimes, right? Because, like, to me, like, my mom would try to give me a curfew. You got to be home at midnight, right? And I wouldn't show up that night, right? Like, I was just in the streets doing whatever. So it's a very tough thin line to, like, be that strict when you didn't grow up that way, right? But I think that's where all that comes from. So if my mom allowed that, right? Like, there was no man, and that's the important thing. That's the key right there. There has to be a man's voice within the household. I think nowadays, man, like, we're forgetting how important a man's role is in people's life. And I think it needs to be said, because I'm a very proudful man, we'll call it, right? Like, I'm proud to be a man, and what we can do. We are the captain of the ship, and if we're not sailing it right, man, like, it goes back to our kids, to the wife, to everybody around us. So I think having those rules, and then, you always hear, like, oh, don't talk about money on the at the dinner table, right? And that we broken that rule, man. I think you have to go against all odds, against the normal, right? Like, you have to go against all that if you don't want your kids to be normal. And sadly, a lot of the things we see nowadays is becoming normal, right? It's normal to do bad things and for kids to throw a fit or whatever. And it's like, yeah, no, like you still have to have that role. So we let the rules have. I will say there's times where we do tell our kids like, hey, there's expectations here. And I remind them, there's a football team, there's going to be expectations. And then guess what? They win. I'm like, so yes, don't, because, sometimes we'll have that conversation where they're like, well, I just feel like I don't want to let you down. It's like, no, don't let yourself down. You're part of this team, right? Like you're part of the team. Don't let yourself down. But we do have expectations. And I think they got it. There's so many ways my mind goes to that question too, because I think of like college, for example. I always tell my kids you don't have to go to college, and it's a very harsh statement for a lot of the normal people out there, right? Like, and I think so. Like my podcast, Derrick, is about the 3%ers, right? Like the people that
Right.
belong in the 3%, people like you that are trying to strive to be better, people like me that I'm trying to strive to be better myself, right? So the 3% conversations that we have are those type of conversations, and they're tough conversations. I call them uncomfortable conversations you don't want to have. A lot of people will throw a fit, right? But then again, that's why they are where they're at. So with that being said, I tell them you don't have to go to college. There's certain rules though that I will say to them, like, hey, but if you don't go to college, I need this and I need that, right? You could work at McDonald's. I don't care, wherever you want to work at, as long as you're happy. That's the number one thing. Be happy doing whatever the hell you're doing. But then two, you're going to have some kind of investments going on the side. And I'm okay with that. You don't have to go to college. And again, maybe McDonald's is not the best, like, but it is what it is. Like, those are the conversations I have with them. And after doing my part, Derrick, I only pray, and I pray that they are listening. And I think they are, because there's times where they'll have conversations with other people and they'll be like, wow, your kids, this and that. So I'm like, all right, I'm in the right. So we'll see.
That's a beautiful thing, man. And again, bro, the wisdom that's just flowing out of your mouth. I have a son who's about to turn 7 in a couple of days, and he had an episode the other day where he threw a tantrum. The teacher sent us a text message, and Eli had a rough day. His name's Eli. Eli had a rough day, and so we put him in it's called like the feeling corner or something like that, and
damn,
and let him call. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what? Dude, when I was a kid, if the teacher called my mom, before she got off the phone, my mom is in that classroom with something going across my head in front of everybody. Like, what? So I do believe that men have a role in households, and I do believe it, especially in the BIPOC communities, the destruction of our communities has been because of men not being in there and being those role models. And I think about you, and as I was reading your book, bro, and just processing through, this image popped into my head of, here you are, this kid who has I believe you said it was your grandmother who was basically forcing you to fight people and cheering against you getting beat up. And that made me think of my grandmother and the times that she had us fight because she was trying to toughen us up and she didn't want us to be, quote unquote, be a punk. And I think about you watching, male figures or your father come in and just punch your mom. And what you said is how you grabbed your sisters and you protected them. Like, you realized you couldn't protect them, but now you can protect mom, but you're protecting these ones. So that role of father is important. And I just want to commend you for that, because it's beautiful, the words that you put in here. Your kids have a roadmap to success in life that is just as powerful as that book that you have on the shelf behind you, Think and Grow Rich. You may not see that you're as powerful as Napoleon Hill or Andrew Carnegie or those people back then, but you are, because you're not just walking around with all of the knowledge of how you survived in your head. You've chosen to not just put it in the book. I love how you've weaved your music throughout the book. And man, bro, a couple songs, and I'm just like, oh, dude, he's truly taken his sauce of life and turned it into music. He's leaving a roadmap for many people. So I just want to hand you your roses on that, bro.
I appreciate it, bro.
And don't feel shame either about being in the streets, because there are people that may watch this that are in the streets right now trying to understand how to get out of the
Mm.
streets.
Hmm.
And so
Love it.
you're laying that framework for them. With that, how exactly did you get out of the streets?
You know, I think the environment is really what comes to my head, because, and I'm very open, like I told you from the beginning. Like if somebody has a little joint, I'll probably smoke it to this day.
I'll
But
smoke
back
with you.
there you go. But back then, it was like a daily thing, right? Like, and if you didn't do it, it was just not the routine, right? Like, it was just a routine. Like, we would get together with friends and whatever, alcohol, weed, whatever, and you would do it. And guess what, Derrick? As I've gotten older, I've gotten together with people that write books, and guess what I did? I wrote a freaking book. There's no, like, there's not a secret, right? Like, that's just what it is. You are who you hang with, and I'm sure you've heard it, and I've tweaked it a little bit, like literally tweaked it. You'll see why I say that. If you hang around with 5 people that are millionaires, you're gonna be the sixth millionaire, right? You hang
Yes.
around, and I say tweak it because if you hang around five crackheads, you're gonna end up being a crackhead. That's just, and it's a 90% chance you're gonna end up being a crackhead. And I think I started realizing that when people that would say, "Hey, I got your back," and maybe there was a school fight, right? For example, and I was there, right, like right behind them, supporting them, right? Like, I got your back, blah blah blah. But then if it would happen on the other side, they weren't there, right? And
Right.
also, I've had a lot of family friends, right, that like they did prison time, and that taught myself, like, dang, like, while they're in prison, like all these friends did it. Like, I saw a friend, I don't, not even marrying, just messing around with the dude's ex or whatever, like, right, like, well, he's locked up, like all that just made me realize, man, like, um the streets don't love you back, right? And I think little by little, your brain will grow, but there's also a choice that comes with that. You have to make the choice that you also want to grow. And I know that I always had that in me of like, no, like, and like I said earlier, like, even though I was doing dumb shit, I would still try to move smart, if that makes sense. Like, I would move
Yeah.
as smart as I could, right? Like, because I'm definitely not the brightest, but I would do my best to move smart and knowing the consequences. And I did get some consequences, but thank God, they weren't as heavy as others, right? Like I said, I know people doing that did a dime, and like just crazy stories, but thank God that my story ended where it's at, but because I made that decision. And I want
Yeah.
everybody to hear that, like, it is your choice. You cannot blame this or that, right? Like, yes, are you hanging around with the 5 people that are smoking weed every day and you're smoking weed? Yeah, but you're also the one with the choice to do that. Um, a lot of people at that age too, they get caught up in like, well, what does so and so think? And I think I've always had that too in me of like, I don't care what they think. You could call me a pussy if I'm not doing that, but fucking, it's just dumb shit that you're doing. And then sure enough, right, like, it would happen, and I saw it evolve. So I think it was just that power within that I keep talking about, that I knew I wanted to do better in my life, and that's what I did. I instead of music had a big impact in my life. Like, instead of, there were times where I would hear at a party there was a shooting, right, or whatever, and I didn't go that night because I was in the studio um recording music, right? Like, so music legit saved my life. And then um I'm not gonna deny that there was no that money wasn't the motive, right? Like, for sure, like, coming where I'm coming from, bro, like, I'd be a liar if I was like, hey man, like
Yeah.
there's no money motivation. There's money motivation every day, even to this day. But back then it was literally like, no, I gotta make in my head, I gotta make a song, an album that's gonna pop, and I'm gonna take off and change everybody's life, right? Like my mom, right? Myself, like everybody around me. But that hustling music kept me going, and while others were hustling other stuff, I was hustling my CDs back at in that time, 2 for 20 in the streets. So I just turned it into that instead, and nobody can stop you guys. Like when you do something legit, your own product, an entrepreneur. I mean, cops will leave you alone. Like they probably mess with me a little bit, like when I was, at a gas station selling CDs, but they would also show love. Like, man, you're an 18-year-old kid or 17-year-old kid out here hustling CDs. I respect that. Hey, just watch out because this and that. So uh, I think you have to be smart and again tap into that power within and knowing that there's better out there. We get selfish when we're in the streets, because we think it's all about us. We forget like the people that we're gonna hurt if something happens to us, and whether it's prison, death, like there's a lot that comes with that. So yeah, that would be my answer for that, man. And I'm happy, man. I would, I definitely a decision that I'm happy about, that I'll always be happy with. And I hope anybody listening out there just know that there's a brighter side, there's a better reason out there for you.
I appreciate that, man. One of the things that I love about your mentality, in the book, you call it the Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality, and I can hear that you've probably been a student of Tim Grover as well. So one of the things that I love is that you have a growth mindset, and it seems that one of the keys to your success is always rooted in finding a purpose higher than you. That it's what and that with a non-judgmental tone, whether that's money, whether that's your mom, whether that's wife, whether that's your daughters, whether that's setting a better example for the community. There's always seems to be something in your life that you put above you, and then you accelerate or excel towards that thing to get better. So
Hmm.
where
I
does that
appreciate
come
it.
from?
You know, I think purpose. I think that's the first thing that comes to my head is purpose. A lot of people don't have a purpose, and I feel like that's where they throw their life away. You got to have purpose in everything that you do. To me, even if it's like the smallest thing, like I'm always looking for the reasoning. Like you have to be a student, right? You like mentioned Tim and Kobe, and definitely great books. If you haven't, go check them out. That winning mentality, man. Like I think you always have to be humble enough to remember where you come from, because that's the fire that keeps you going. Like I'll be honest with you, Derrick. Like, and it's a blessing to say, and I don't say it in like a crazy way, but more of a motivating way. Is like I don't have to do anything anymore. The like for example, the book. I don't have to write another book because it's not for the money. Music, the music I already have to this day. I don't have to put out another song, but I do it because I love it. It's the purpose, right? Like that's my purpose. And so what I'm saying is I'm already made, thank God, with money. Like even the real estate stuff, like I don't have to go buy another house. Even the properties that we do have now, the investments we made to this day, like we're legit made, not just me, like my daughters, not just my daughters, but my grandkids. Like if this thing gets taken care of, that's the generational wealth, right? Like I always like to
Yeah.
say, I went from generational curses to generational wealth, baby. Like that's just the reality of, like, again, that's my purpose right there, right? Like from pain to purpose. But I think a lot of people get caught up in like they forget that you have to do keep yourself busy and do something productive. Like and when you do something productive, make sure that there's a purpose to it. Like don't just do it because like I said, and it's funny, back then, Derrick, like money was the motive 100%, right? Like I would go sell CDs so I could make cash. I was on survival mode, right? Like I had to make cash. Well, it's funny because yes, I was successful. I made some money, but the moment I let that go, where I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna do this because I love it." Like because music, I loved it. It just there was a way for me to make money, so I jumped on it. Right, like the book. When I wrote this book, guys, like now was there, obviously you think like, oh well, now I wrote a book, like now I do coaching because of it. Like there was a plan behind it, but it's never like, oh, I'm gonna make $1 million out of this book. No, it is to inspire other people, it is to motivate other people. And dude, like the messages I get, Derrick, or even just immediate people that I know here, even locally, hey, I started a business because of you, hey, I'm doing this because of that book. Like dude, that right there fuels me. And guys, there's a magic that happens when you help other people, you're helping yourself. So the moment I stopped like chasing the money and I just focused on doing it because I truly wanted to like follow my purpose, guys, like the money just exploded. Like it just came with it. And to this day is the same reality. So sometimes we are so I want you guys to be open-minded. I want you guys to open up because sometimes we're so like caught up in like, well, I got to do this, right? Like tense. And when you're tense like that and all that, like things don't go your way. So open up, let it be, and do what you love. And I promise you, patience is the key too, because it takes a while, man. This didn't happen overnight either, right? Like, but I stayed with it. That's the thing, is being patient, knowing that there's a brighter future. To this day, Derrick, like, I'm blessed to say, like, I have a song with Kevin Gates, like all these different artists out there. It's a big blessing. But I feel like I'm just getting started. Like sometimes I look at this book and I'm like, man, that book, like I'm on to the next already, right? Like I'm gonna start writing my next one. That song that I just released, I'm on the next one, right? That's the purpose that you have to live with. And again, and one thing too, if there's any artists listening, man, like I see music too, guys, as like real estate. And I think that's why I like love both of these industries, because music and like book, like even the book like itself, but my label put out this book, right? Like my own label, I distributed it myself. Like no middleman. I think it's important too. It's harder that way. It's harder to get noticed, less recognition, but it's the foundation. Once it's laid out, man, things will pop. But real estate, because I record a song once, I put in work once, but then that song is here forever. And I know you mentioned that earlier, Derrick, that there's gonna be, I'm leaving a path, right? Like it's important for people to leave a stamp in the world. And with my music, the book, like nobody can take that away from me. Like I could be gone, but my music will still be here for my daughters, right? Like and it's passive income. The bigger it gets, the more money. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm making all this money out of like my risk, but I'm making some money, like for sure.
Yeah.
I'm making some money for sure out of my music to this level where I'm at. It can only get bigger too, guys. That's the thing. Like people sometimes think like, oh, like, you're grinding, and it's like, actually, I don't even feel like that. Like I think you don't see that. Like I already made it. Now, like and just to keep it simple, like if 1,000 people know about me, I'm sure like like today, I probably, like where I was at earlier, I probably had one more person go listen to my music. So it can only grow, right? Like just by me talking about it. So it's like real estate, because there's that passive income, and then it's for generations to come. You don't necessarily have to do music, guys, but make sure that you do something that's forever. Create a product that's forever, that's gonna be passed on. I think it's super important. Like the stuff you got going, Derrick, that's why I admire it. I was just telling my buddy at lunch earlier, like about you, and I can't wait to have you on my podcast too, bro, because your story is freaking amazing.
Let's go, bro.
But it's the product that you're creating that's forever, right? Like nobody can take that away from you. Very important.
Brother, I honestly feel though that, and I mean this with 100% conviction, if I die with the knowledge in my head, then my life was worthless. So for me, it is making sure that you've actually motivated me, honestly, bro, because I had set a goal that I forgot about because I got distracted with a bunch of stuff. And I said I was going to release my next book by Halloween, that I was going to finish it by October 31st. And then reading this, you lit a fire under my ass today.
Love
And
it.
I am going to finish that book. And I think you're going to be the first person that I send a copy of that book to.
Let's go, bro.
Likely on or on Halloween, but by the end of this month, that book will be complete, and I'm sending it to you.
Let's go.
Man, I think that's so important what you're talking about there. Some people don't know what it means to leave a legacy, but what you're doing for your family and establishing generational wealth, multi-generational wealth, it's not just your kids, it's your grandkids. And if you're leaving behind the knowledge that you have on how to actually manage those funds and make the money grow, then it's not just your grandkids, because they'll get that knowledge and they'll learn how to make it grow and make it grow. And that compounding just keeps going and going and going and going. This is how the wealthy do it. So something you said earlier was incredibly important, which is you become who you surround yourself with. Truly. There's a book called 3 Feet from Gold. It's one of the books that Napoleon Hill references, or I'm sorry, Bob Proctor actually talks about it, 3 Feet from Gold. And one of the important stories in that book was this guy met one of his idols in the financial world. And the financial guy, the mentor, asked the mentee, would you like to meet some of my friends? And the mentee is like, absolutely. It'd be the equivalent of Tim Story or one of our mentors going, hey, Billy, would you like to meet Oprah? And would you like to meet this person and that person and this person? And you're like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. But then he said, and would I like to meet your closest friends? And bro, I heard that and I was just like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, would I want my mentor to meet my 5 closest friends?
Wow.
For the people listening to this podcast, ask yourself that question. Would you want your mentor or the person that you're striving to become or to be like, would you want them to meet your 5 closest friends? And if not, listen to what Billy said and change your circle.
Yeah, seriously, I love that, man. I'm actually gonna meet with my uncomfortables, is what I call them, my get uncomfortable mastermind. Every Thursday we meet at 7 p.m. Central, and I'm actually gonna bring that up, bro. And by the time they listen to this, it'll be I don't know when you're releasing it yet, but I'm bringing it up tonight to them. That's like. Books are so amazing, bro, because like I forget sometimes certain books that I've read, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna read it again, because I think repetition is super important to keep our brain going, because we're humans, so we like the comfortable, right? Like we slowly, guys, get back into our zone. Like earlier, what you said, Derrick, about your book, like you kind of had forgotten about that goal, and I think it's super important. Like people fail to realize, like, just having our relationship, I'm hoping that now you really finish it, but based off of our conversation today, like that's how it works, guys. Is it's super important the people you surround yourself with, and I'm glad to have you, bro, in my corner. Like anything you need, same. I know we've had these conversations. Like I can't wait to have you on my podcast too. I actually just finished building my studio, bro. Like it's not even ready yet. Like
Good
there's
job.
an outlet right here. Like we still need to finish it up, some lighting. But thanks for being patient, because we spoke about it a few months ago, and I got you on my list, bro. That I can't wait, because your story is super amazing, and it's the people you surround yourself with, man. Like it truly is.
No worries, bro. If I can offer a suggestion to you in your book next time. So the audio book is awesome, man. The way you weave that music in there, right? Bro, let us know which album the songs are on.
Love it.
I went on Apple, I went on iTunes, and I'm like, oh man, let me find this song.
Boy, has a catalog, you said.
Yeah. This dude has a whole catalog in there. What did he release? 11, 12 albums now? Like,
I don't even know, bro. Something like that. Yeah. I just keep working, bro. I just put my head down and keep working. That's all.
But it's not just your music. You said something earlier, and I'll say it again. Success leaves clues. You see a need or an opportunity, and you study it, and you go at it, and you seem to have not been afraid of failing. or even let me rephrase that, or maybe you can phrase that. Have you been afraid of failing, or is it more that you're more geared towards success so that allows you to overcome the failure? What Give me your thoughts on failure.
So there's, to me, the way that I see it, bro, is there's never a loss. There's never a failure. To me, it's either you win or you have a lesson. And it's extremely important because there's days, bro, like and I haven't really shared this publicly, but I will. There was one time that I invested in a show, and it was Boozy when he was coming home, man. I invested 15,000, bro, and the dude took off with my money, with all the other money. Like, he just took off like with the show money afterwards. Um, that lesson right there, and I got a lawyer and everything. And he just disappeared, bro. Like, I mean, when you do shit like that, I mean, karma will get you for sure.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was mad. I was this, right? Like, I'm like, man, I could have done this with that money. I could have done that. But you know what? I learned so much about contracting, about providing, about investing, right? Like, even just that itself, because I did have a contract. There was just certain things that I left out. So there's so, and now, bro, it sounds crazy, but every lesson that I have, I can legit tell you right now, bro, I would do that again. And sometimes my wife would be like, "Are you serious?" Right? Like, certain individuals that I've done business with and stuff like that, I'm like, I would do it again, totally, because that's the best school. That's the best school, is experience.
Yes.
That's all I know. Like, from back then, right? Like, doing the stupid stuff that I did, like, that's all I know, is just getting it done and get in there, and you learn from that, right? Like, but I think overall, you guys have to understand, guys, that it's all in your mind, it's all in your head. Like, I can't express that enough. There's been, like, there's things that have happened out there, guys, just from your thoughts. Like, there's somebody that got diagnosed with cancer that died. Like, I want you guys to really hear that. Somebody got misdiagnosed with cancer and they died because somebody put that fucking thought in their fucking head. And I get very passionate about that, because you are who you hang with. What's crazy, Derrick, is like, even back then, like, if I would have had, now, don't get me wrong, I would say 80% of the people supported me, right? Like, they're still there. But there was that 20% that, oh, you're funny, you think you could rap, or, oh, you're this, or that album's whack, or, or even just close friends, right? Like, making comments. I wrote about it on the book. And I always think, I'm like, what if 100% of the people that you surround yourself with support you? I could tell you right now, Derrick, that I would be bigger than I am. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm blessed. Like, I'm loving my life, right? But I always think that, I'm like, man, like, if I would have known what I know now, and I have chosen my circle better, right? Like, or my standards. You have to have standards, guys. And as soon as I raised my standards, people didn't like it, right? Like, but guess what? Those people are meant to be in your life anyways. So it's extremely important to surround yourself with the Derricks, right? With the Billys, because we are the ones that are going to keep you accountable. We're going to push you to do better. We're going to be happy with what you do as well. We're going to support it, right? Like, that's the key. But back then, the little smart comments, even though I've always been big, I told you, I'm very big on, like, I don't care what people think. I've always been like that. But those thoughts still get in your head because of the environment, whether you want them or not. So if people were speaking more life into me, I know I would be doing, even, I would have been bigger already, right? Like, but it's not late. Like, I'm out here, I'm doing my thing. And but extremely important. Your thoughts, guys, and the people you surround yourself with is extremely important.
Brother, that truer words never spoken, right? And this is what books like Think and Grow Rich, all of these books are telling you the same thing, or at least me. I hear the same message repeated over and over and over. Your life is the sum total of your thoughts. You have experiences, but what do you think about the experience? And I have this simple little test on my wall here, Billy. These words that says, I am worthy and loved. For anybody that watches one of my podcasts and read that statement and have any negative thought that runs counter to this right here, then you still have work to do in your life. It's just that simple.
So true.
And surrounding yourself again with people who build you up, like you're saying. Not people. Listen, I literally just said, Billy, man, add the albums in here so we know where to reference the material
Exactly.
at.
Exactly.
That's not breaking you
That's
down. It's
the
not.
that's the criticism, bro, that like we want, right? Like that's the people we want to surround yourself with. I love that. That boom right there, bro. We could end it right here.
Yeah, bro,
I
that's
love
what it
it.
is.
So
And
true.
and as you saying, hey, the sound quality is different when you're wearing headphones. So this is
Mm.
the yeah, this is the first podcast where I'm wearing these headphones. And why wouldn't I listen to you, man? You're a recording artist, right?
Mm.
And so anyway, brother, I appreciate you looking at the various things that you've done. It's like you don't just invest in real estate, you also created a real estate management company. You started flipping houses and you have a construction company with all of this. Like you're like, all right, I see that. And now I see all of these adjacent industries that I can go into.
Exactly.
I believe in
Exactly.
myself enough to do it. Bro, where does that belief come from? I have just these three final questions for you. Where does that belief in yourself come from? Because there are people that will read this statement that says, I'm worthy and loved, or that I am capable. And it seems
Mm.
that you have been a person to master that statement of I am capable, even in the face of doubts. Where does that come from?
That's an amazing question, and I think honestly, bro, like if I were to, you said it earlier, and I'll piggyback off of it. Is the books that I've read. Um, it's funny. Back when I started, of course, I wanted to be a millionaire, right? Like, of course, like as soon as I started doing music and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be a millionaire, right? But I always think back, like I was not ready, and it was the mindset. Like I guarantee you, bro, that if at that time I would have made it, I honestly I could probably tell you that I probably wouldn't even have my wife, like my kids, like I'd probably be doing dumb shit because that's my mindset was not 100%, right? Like you always have the angel and the devil, and you have to be able to control the two. Sometimes that devil could keep you away from stuff, but you have to let the angel win most of the time, guys, because that angel and the thing is, you mentioned and I'm gonna say it like you mentioned religion earlier, bro, and I am the one to push religion, like I am because everything is like God is the number one thing that has provided me to do the stuff that I've done. And at that time, I didn't realize, he was keeping me away from a lot of trouble. So nowadays, like money's coming in the way it is because of my mindset, and I did it by reading. Right. That's why it's funny you mentioned it earlier. I can't remember if it was off air or on air, but my book, like when I wrote this book, I was like, how can I make the tiniest book with the most impact that somebody can be like, all right, man, let me freaking read this thing, right? Like, let's see what it's about. And I'm hoping that this is the book that will push somebody to read more, for one, and then two, you read a lot of books out there that are focused on mindset. Number one important thing, and you said it earlier, that you see a pattern, right? But guess what? My book, I wanted it to be how can I light somebody's ass on fire to get up and go do it, right? Like, and that was my mindset. Something that, again, all these books that I'm surrounding myself with, and the books that you've mentioned, bro, like amazing books. Like you cannot, I would never like take it for granted, but this will get you to take action. The Power of Being Uncomfortable was designed for a quick read that's going to make you take action in the stuff that maybe you've been putting off or putting a belief in you that you didn't know you had, right? Like, and I hope that I truly do that because it's crazy, guys. Like, it's cool to be smart. Like, as a youngster, everybody I surrounded myself with, like, the dumber you were, the stupidest shit you did, the better the people would applaud, right? Like, oh yeah, you did this stupid shit, right? Like, hell yeah.
Jackass.
Yeah, exactly. But if you read a book, they would look at you like, what the fuck? Now, also you have to find the right books too, because I remember back in high school, right? Like they would make you read these dumb books that to this day I'm kind of like, why? I don't care what Holly did, right? Like, or whatever stupid character. Like, there's books out there that will change your life, guys. You just have to. The thing is, guys, there's no excuse. Like, oh, you're broke. Okay, then the library is free. So what's your excuse now, right? Like, for one, for two, oh, you don't like reading, where there's audio versions. Like, there. Stop with the freaking excuses. Get your ass up and go out there and get it done. The thing is like, you always hear like, oh, you got time. Oh, you're young. And it's like, no, because tomorrow you could get hit by a bus. And I'm just harsh. Like, that's just the
That's
real
the
mentality,
reality.
right? Like, so with me, it's like, how can I make the most out of my day? Right. And also the funny thing is, like, I go hard, but I also have my schedule. So like, I schedule everything around my kids' soccer games, my family events, right? Like, I schedule everything around that. It is extremely important to like understand what's important. Like, don't get caught up in the hustle and all that. Like I said before, like, you have to hustle at the beginning. Once you get some money up, then you have to get smart with it and work smart, right? Like, now you cannot be out there working hard. Now you got to work smart, right? And then that's how you build an empire, guys. Like, truly. You said something earlier too, Derrick, that you said, it's one, like, and basically I'm going to say in my own words, like, it's one thing making money, but then it's also another where you actually keep it and then you invest it, you actually grow it. And that's what the wealthy do. Like, that's what Derrick said
Yes.
earlier, and is the freaking truth. Honestly, and I'm probably controversial, but making money is easy, guys. Like, there's no freaking excuses. Making money is easy. The hard part is keeping it. The harder part is making it work for yourself. That's the hard
Yes.
part. So go out there and hustle, man. Let's go.
Let's go. Billy, question number 2. Where can people contact you?
So BillyThaKidd.com, and I do spell it different, DHAKIDD.com. And then from there, usually Instagram. And then I do have a YouTube channel, but mostly I'm on Instagram. And then info at BillyThaKidd.com. Any questions you guys might have or anything, or DM me. And I think knowledge is to be shared, man. The thing is, the more you want to keep things to yourself, the less things come your way. The more you open up and you help others, again, the more people you help, man, the more that you get regardless. And that's what I'm doing with my coaching and stuff.
Man, you may have just answered the third question, which is this. If this were the last time that you and I spoke, or the only time that someone from my audience got to hear you speak, what would you want us to walk away with?
Whew, that's a deep question. I think, I'm going to go back to the very beginning, man. Everything is possible. Just hustle. And when you find out that you're your worst enemy, that you're the one who's keeping you away from everything, it's not nobody else. There's no, there's the environment and all that, but those are all excuses. Like, it is yourself. So once you look at yourself in the mirror, and I go as deep as, like, when you're naked, stripped naked, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, are you keeping it real to yourself? Right? Like, are you looking at yourself and saying, no, this is who I am, I'm proud of who I am? And if you're not, because I'm not proud of who I am, I'm striving to get better. Now, I'm proud of the dude I'm today than yesterday, that's for sure. I'm proud of that. But you have to know that growth, guys, never stops. Like, you have to keep growing. Actually, there's studies that show that people that retire, they have a bigger chance of dying within the next 5 days, or I'm sorry, 5 years. In the next 5 years, you have a higher chance of dying. Why? Because you don't have purpose. So, man, if I'm going to be rapping, I'm going to be like Snoop Dogg, bro. I'm going to be 50, 60, still rapping, bro, doing my thing. Because,
Hey,
I'm
as
just trying
long
to
as you
live
keep riding them beats, bro. As long as you can
to.
ride those beats like them. And I'm gonna tell you something to end this thing, man. I appreciate everything, bro. But I listened to your audiobook, and then I put it on 1.5, and then I put it on 1.5, and listening to you speed up, and I was like, this dude can be there with Eminem and Tech Nine. Like, he can actually,
Wow.
he can ride the beat. I'm just like,
Appreciate it, bro.
okay. So anyway,
That's that Eminem's one of my favorite rappers, bro, of all time.
Hey,
Like,
that is a beast.
yeah, sometimes I get judged, but you got to remember, like, I grew up in the late '90s, early 2000s for sure. That was my hip hop era, and it's funny because even Eminem, when I first listened to it, bro, like I didn't even know what the hell he was saying because I didn't know English. Like you have to like put yourself in my shoes, but the passion he had, like the way that he said it, the delivery he had, bro, like that's what caught my attention. And then of course, I did my thing. I started learning, and then I knew what he was saying. So that obviously just added more. And so yeah, man. So for you to say that, bro, that means a lot, bro. And Tech Nine, man, he's the king of the stuff that I'm doing, bro. The middle, no middleman, right? Like just straight up doing your own thing. So I appreciate it, bro. And he's from the Midwest too, man. He's like 3 hours away from Nebraska. So
Look at you. Billy, brother, closing us out, you are a beacon to so many in this country. Being a kid that come from the background that you came from, coming to this country, not speaking English as an immigrant, being scared to cross that border to go over to Tijuana, deciding to do it anyway to face your fears, getting your residential status. I'm not sure if you're a citizen yet, but man, just watching how you're doing that and the way that you're taking care of your family, you are a beacon of hope in this country, especially in this divided political environment now where they're talking about people eating cats and dogs and all type of craziness. It's like, no, stop the BS. This is what the American dream looks like. People that actually go after it. So thank you for that. I appreciate your time, brother. And I look forward to being on your podcast and sending you my book.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much, man. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.